everyone. I almost didn't do it today, but I wanted to start my day with this because I sat with myself this morning and I asked, do I have the right words on what happened? And honestly, I'm not sure I do. But I know that silence right now would be wrong. So I'm showing up even if I break down, even if it's messy, because some conversations are just simply too important to wait until we feel ready. Our community lost someone yesterday. A woman, a real living, breathing, feeling human being who had a name, a story, a history, full of both survival and pain. And I know the whispers are happening. I know people are talking. And I am here today to ask all of us to stop, take a breath, and talk differently. Because she deserves better than whispers. And so does everyone else who's silently watching this right now, carrying something they haven't told a single soul. So before you judge, understand. When someone ends their life, judgment comes first. It's just natural. It's almost automatic. How could she do this? She was so selfish. What about the people she left behind? She seemed fine. She was always smiling. She looked happy. I never would have expected that. I understand all those reactions. They come from shock. They come from grief. They come from the terrifying discomfort of something we just don't know how to hold. But I need to say this as clearly as I possibly can because it matters more than almost anything that I will say today. Suicide is not selfishness. It is not weakness. It is not a character flaw. And it's absolutely not something a person chooses the way you choose what to wear in the morning. It is happening when a person's pain has grown so enormous and their hope has shrank so small that they just can't see a way towards. And that's it. That's the whole story. Viktor Frankl was the author of Men's Search for Meaning, survived the Holocaust. He lost everything, and he wrote that when a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they either distract themselves with pleasure or destroy themselves. When meaning disappears, when hope disappears, when the tunnel goes so completely dark that you can't remember what light looks like, the mind does not think rationally. The mind does not weigh pros and cons. The mind simply wants the pain to stop. And yet, we judge. We don't judge the person whose heart gave out after years of silent stress, right? We don't blame the body that collapsed under invisible illness. We don't look at someone who died from cancer and say, how could you do this to your family? So hear me out. Mental and emotional pain is no less real. It is no less physical, and it is fatal. So I'm asking you, before you speak about her, before you form an opinion, before you compare yourself and say, I've been through hard things and I'm still alive, before you whisper something else, ask yourself this one question. If I was in this darkest place right now, most hopeless moment, how would I want someone to speak about me? She was a human being in unbearable pain. She deserves our compassion, our prayers, and our understanding, not our judgment. I knew this woman, not as deeply as I wish I had, but enough. And what I knew about her was her strength. She has been through tough times in life. And she's been through things that would have broken most people, quietly, without complaint. She carried it with grace. She showed up for others. When I was going through some of my hard season, she was the one of a few that showed up with powerful words of resilience. She poured into me when I was depleted. And her posts, she always looked happy, genuinely, beautifully happy. And that is what shattered me most. Because here's the truth that does not get talked about enough. The ones who are suffering the most are almost always the ones who master the art of appearing fine. They smile because they don't want to be a burden. They post beautiful things because they're desperately trying to feel something normal. They show up for everyone else because taking care of someone else is the only break they get from their own pain. They hold it all together on the outside because falling apart feels like a failure. Strong people don't reach out. In fact, the stronger the person, the less likely they will say, I'm not okay. They have been strong for so long that vulnerability feels foreign to them, like a language they have forgotten how to speak. And they want to make other people feel because people will forget what you say. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. This woman made people feel strong. She made people feel seen. She gave that gift freely. And I keep asking myself, who is giving it back to her? Now, I need to say something that might be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. We always say, reach out if you need help. We put it on posts, we share it on social media, we text it to people. We mean well when we say that. But we need to ask ourselves something much deeper. What happens when someone reaches out? And that person that reaches out is met with judgment instead of love. Because that's what happens, more than we want to admit. Some people don't call their family because they're drowning. And they know that they will be judged. Not because they don't want to call, but because they already know what they will hear. You're so dramatic. Other people have it so much worse. Just be grateful. You need to get it all together. Or even, I don't have time for this right now. The people who are supposed to be the safest sometimes become the most dangerous. Not because they're cruel, but because it's uncomfortable. Because sitting with someone's real pain is hard. It requires you to put down your own life just to be present. And not everyone had learned how to do that. And so these people, the ones who are struggling the most, learn to go silent. They learn to form an okay image. They become experts at protecting everyone else from the truth of what they're actually going through. They stop trying to be understood because being misunderstood hurts more than saying nothing. The wound is the place where light actually enters you. But what happens when every time you try to show someone your wounds, they flinch, or they minimize it, or they tell you to cover it up and move on? Eventually, you just stop showing it. And that is where darkness becomes unbearable. That is where hope disappears. That is where people begin to believe that no one would actually miss them, that their absence would be less painful than their presence, that somehow the people they love would be better off. And that's tough. That's devastating. False. And that's where we lose people. That is why support system matters. Not a performance support system. Not an I'm here for you, text me anytime. That never actually answers the problem. I'm talking about a real one, present one that sits in discomfort without running from it. And I'm going to share something now that I don't even share. But I'm saying it today because somewhere in this life, there is someone who needs to know they are not alone. And I would rather be vulnerable and reach to that one person than protect my image and reach to no one. There was a period in my life when I understood, truly deeply understood, how person could no longer want to be here. I'm not ashamed to say that. It's the truth. I was in one of the darkest seasons of my life. Everything that could fall apart was falling apart. And the cruelest part wasn't even the circumstance. It was the silence around me. The people I expected to hold me couldn't or didn't. I was standing in the middle of a storm completely alone, trying to appear strong for everyone else while I was quietly drowning inside. I didn't see hope. I couldn't find that light. The tunnel wasn't just dark. It felt like it had no end. Like this was just my life now. Like the pain was permanent. And I want you to hear this. I was not crazy. I was not weak. I was not selfish, dramatic, or ungrateful. I was a human being whose pain had outgrown her resources, whose support system had failed her, who had given so much to everyone else that there was nothing left and no one filling it up for her. And slowly, thankfully, I found my way through it. Not because the circumstances immediately changed, but because I made a decision to fight for my own life, to do the work, to choose one single day at a time, to believe that the darkest times was not the destination, that the tunnel did not have all darkness. It did have light on the other side. That my story was not finished. And I'm so grateful I stayed. Because every hard thing I survived gave me the ability to sit with someone in their darkness and say, I know. I really know. And you can get through this. And I say this with the woman I work with. You are not broken. You are becoming. So what can we actually do? Because knowing this matters, but it's not enough. We have to learn to see what people trying to hide. What people are trained so well not to show. I'll give you some signs, and please save them. Remember them. That can help and save lives. The first one is withdraw. They go quiet. They pull away from people they used to be close to. They stop showing up. And after the news yesterday, I looked at that person's Facebook posts. She hasn't been posting for a couple of months. The second thing is giving things away. People that are so desperate and made the decision to end their life, they start gifting meaningful possessions. Almost like they're settling accounts. Just giving it away. They're saying things like, keep it. You might like that. The third one is reaching out after a long silence. If someone went silent on you and all of a sudden they reach out to you and they just say, I just want to check on you. That's a goodbye. That hasn't been named yet. The next one is words of hopelessness. If someone just says, I'm so tired, nothing will ever change, everything would just be better off without me, don't dismiss those. Those are real thoughts. When someone says, I just can't do this anymore, they might mean it. Listen closely. Another thing that you can watch for is a sudden calmness after dark period. When this is like really critical and counterintuitive. Someone when sometimes when someone goes and make that decision of ending their life, they feel a strange sense of peace. It can look like they're getting better, and it is not always that. That peace sometimes means they stop fighting. They came into terms with their decision. If you see someone that has a dramatic behavior shift, they're not eating, they're not sleeping, they're disappearing from their own life, or they're making reckless choices, help them out. Ask what's going on. And some people just become invisible on purpose. They stop posting, they're not calling, just gone from the space they used to fill. If you notice any of these with someone you know, don't wait. Do not talk yourself out of it. Do not tell yourself you're overreacting or it's not your place. Just reach out. Just say something. Ask a real question. Hey, I've been thinking about you. How are you really doing? Not the I am fine answer. How are you really doing? And then be quiet. Listen. Not to fix, not to advise, not to minimize, not to offer solutions. Just be present with that human being in their pain. Because sometimes the only thing stands between someone and the edge is knowing that one person actually sees them without judgment. You don't have to be a therapist to save someone's life. You just have to be willing to show up for them. And I want to step away from speaking to the community for a moment. I'm speaking directly to you. The one who's watching this and feeling something off inside. The one who's recognizing themselves in something that I just said. The one who is exhausted from pretending. The one who has been carrying all of that alone for so long. And you've almost forgotten what it feels like to put this down. I want you to know that I see you. I know what it is to smile when you're screaming on the inside. I know what it is to post something beautiful when you're falling apart behind the scenes. I know the weight of pain that nobody around you sees and seem to understand. I know what it is to reach out and to meet with judgment. To feel like a burden. To wonder if disappearing would hurt less than just saying. I know. I really, really know. And I need you to hear this. What you are feeling is real. Your pain is real, and it deserves to be heard, not minimized, not judged, not carried alone. You are not crazy. You're not weak. You're not too much. You are a human being in pain who deserves help. Please stay. Please reach out. Please give yourself one more day. Even the darkest nights will end, and the sun will rise. It will rise, I promise you, even when you can't see it from where you are standing. And if you have no one to call, call 988. the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free. It's confidential. It's available 24 hours a day, every single day. You don't have to be at the very edge to call. You can just call to be heard. You matter more than you know. Your story is not over. And one more thing, because I want this to be more than just words. Many of you know I work with healing and empowerment through women heartbreak, specifically with people who are carrying pain that has gone unnamed for too long. Women who are going through loss, heartbreak, life just falling apart, and feeling completely alone in the middle of this crowd. I'm extending myself to the community right now. If you're watching this and something in you shifted, if a door cracked open and it has been shut for a long time, please reach out to me. Send me a message, a DM, a comment, whatever feels safe. There's no cost, there's no judgment, there's no commitment. There's just a conversation with someone who has been in the dark and found her way back to light, and has devoted her life to help others do the same. You deserve someone who will actually listen, not fix, not advise, not judge. Just listen. Let me be that one for you, even if it's just one conversation, because no one heals alone. We're not destined to carry our pain in isolation. We were made for connection, for witnessing, for kind of love that says, I see you and I am not going anywhere. And before I go, I want to honor her one more time. She was someone who poured into others, someone who survived things quietly, someone who had warmth and strength and words that lifted people. She showed up for others at their lowest. And I hope somewhere in her story, someone showed up for her too. She deserved more time. And while we can't go back, we can't go and change that, we can go forward differently. We can, as a community, be there for everyone. We can be a community where no one suffers alone, where we check in on the strong ones, especially the strong ones, where we sit with people in their pain instead of running from it, where we choose compassion over judgment every single time, where we create enough safety for someone to say, I am not okay, and know with an absolute certainty that they will be held. Let her life mean something. Let her passing change how we show up for each other. Check on someone today, not tomorrow, today. Send the text message you've been putting off. Make that call. Show up at the door. You may never know how much this mattered, how much it will matter. I love every single one of you. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. And remember, be kind, because everyone you meet is fighting a battle that you simply don't know about. And if this touched you, please share it. You never know who actually needs to hear it. And you never know whose feed it's going to lend, because you never know whose life that would reach. Someone out there needs to hear this story. I'm here for you, and thank you so much for listening.